And we are live.
Hey.
And we're not late. On the
This
dot.
is to the
On the
second,
dot.
yeah?
Yeah, precisely. Anyway, hi, welcome back to Crypto Talks. No, we're not late. Yeah, we missed out last week because obviously I was sick.
Dying,
Sorry.
dead.
Yeah, I was
And
almost
then
dead.
And then, like Jesus Christ, he came back to life, and here he is now to spread his TA wisdom and infinite knowledge.
Imagine now if I become some kind of crypto saint. So
hey, come on! Like we're right
about
every
sale.
week, so you know.
I mean, so far we've been pretty much on the money, really.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to toot my own horn, but really, we have.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't. I'm just trying to think back. It was 2 weeks ago, but we were very clear about volume dropping off at resistance. No, it would take a significant push for us to push higher, and it was that the move would be explosive either direction, but it's that once it breaks, it's going to break big. And okay, yes, it's not broken hugely so far, but we've not actually seen any significant buying come in despite the drop we've had so far, and it's really not looking particularly optimistic now. Yeah, we'll get into it,
but that depends on how you see it too, right?
Of course, yeah.
So what I wanted to do.
When I said I'm saying optimistic in terms of optimistic for price action. The actual market going up is. Yeah, but we'll see.
Up is inevitable, but maximum pain is also up. You got to remember that. We said that for a long time.
Yeah, over what time period is the thing, and of course we're talking. We are talking about. Yes, of course not. And so we are talking about what is still maintaining an uptrend. This is the uptrend has not broken. Let's be very clear on that. And well, so we'll get into it.
So I'm just going to open up the chart here on Bitcoin as we always do, and I haven't really changed much since we last did this. I removed one line that I believe was sort of not really as important, and it was. I think it was just this tiny one right here just to catch these ones, and that just feels stupid to have there. Yeah. So but just to start off, we can obviously see that since the downtrend began, we've had, let's see so I don't mess up this, we've had, there's a high, there's a high, and there's a high, and there's a high, and now there's a high that's above that. Well, several of them. So we're creating higher highs. So the trend is reversed essentially, and same goes for the bottom ones. So the trend is reversed, and how long is that going to last? I don't know. Hopefully that will last until the next bear market starts.
I'll just point out one thing: is if you take the upper trend line that you've got there and put it on the daily put it on the daily closes, and you'll see we are still holding that as support. If you join us on the closes, we haven't broken
that was actually my next part that I said we can also adjust according to closes rather than to have them on the wicks. I tend to use the wicks just because it's easier to just set them up and then all the. But yeah, we can keep it like that. That's fine. That's cool.
And actually, on the I'm just looking at it on the Binance chart. You can extend that trend line all the way back to the drop in June.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly valid.
Yeah, it's pretty much on the money there. We can actually leave it like that for now. We can let it sit like that because that's absolutely valid.
To me, I think that is the truest form of this uptrend, and obviously with these diagonals, like I'm very much a horizontal support and resistance guy. I don't particularly like diagonals, but when they are big, when they hold, and this one's been running for nearly a year now and has been it's been broken both up and down, but it's been incredibly well respected every time it's been touched.
We could argue this as well, but that's much shorter term.
And
so much
I'd
of a
say
fan
that
there.
there'll be a point where we never touch that trend line again. So
Yeah. And I mean, some people could even say, "Oh, let's do this," but that's really stretching it for me.
yeah, but that's a trend line that currently, yeah, it might be stretching it, but in the
Mhm.
future, once this one we're currently playing with has been
Yeah,
invalidated, broken, just it
yeah.
will become sort of irrelevant, and maybe
But
there might be a new one that is more valid.
yeah, to be honest, like this one is basically we've broken this
Hmm. It's more, yeah,
this
we've
uptrend, so
yeah.
we can essentially start moving this, but we want to leave this because that might act as an average between two uptrends, two
Yeah,
lines
it's
later
not.
on.
Yeah,
So
I'd say that's not the only support line. I'd say that's a background line where
mhm,
that
yeah,
is going to be valid for maybe until it could be valid, become valid in 2 years' time again. Maybe we
oh
drop,
yeah,
maybe we drop below, and we hung around at below 30K for a year in a really really shitty environment.
yeah,
Then that could happen. Is
yeah.
it likely? No, I don't think so.
Not
But
really, no.
possible.
But what I believe is likely, though, is that first of all, I want to talk about some stuff. One of the reasons to why we think this drop has happened, or one of the reasons we know this drop has happened, is because of some liquidations, some long liquidations of $250 million that's happened. That's occurred during during this week, the past week, and it is basically just happened within the crypto space, because if you just jump over real quick to the S&P, for example, there is no notable correction. Nasdaq, not really a notable correction or anything like that.
Yeah.
So this is just for crypto, and if you've been in crypto for a while, you know that corrections with big numbers are not rare. We're seeing
This
these type of corrections in
oh,
crypto. So
this isn't a big correction so far.
no, so far
This
it's
is
not.
essentially just noise. It's a failure of a break upwards, and
Yeah.
simply the market saying nope, we ain't ready to go and move up again this quickly. There's not enough demand. There's too much supply. We've got to come down to a lower level and find some buyers, because there's just not enough at this period. And this was the risk that we talked about when you come to buying resistance. And if the market for the market to break upwards, you have to have enough buyers at a period where there are going to be a lot of sellers. And
Yeah.
after such a pretty ferocious rally, on on the back of what was the point of this rally? Where did it happen fundamentally, other than simply a relief rally? This is just a reaction to a year of horrible consistent downtrend. Everything snaps back to some sort of mean reversion, and that's all we're seeing. This isn't this we can say this is a bull market in maybe in 2 years' time, if we saw the macro bottom in November, and that was it, and that was our $3,000 in 2018 scenario, then you can say, yeah, the bull market started in November 2022. But we don't know that yet. It's way too early to tell whether we're at that period yet. We could go and make lower lows. We could hold this range for a year. We could blast off to new all-time highs by the end of the year. All three of those scenarios are very possible and are dependent on a whole range of things happening. And that is the reason. Say that this is a period to simply follow the charts, to just look at what's happening and listen to Crypto Talks, because we're right every week. 60% of the time we're right every time. So yeah,
whenever we're right, we're right. When we're wrong. 100% of the time.
Yep. Could go up, could go down, could go sideways. But no, this is essentially the what we're doing is we're in an uptrend. We're in an uptrend until we're not. We're finding areas of support. We're looking at where buyers are likely to come in, and looking at where the indicators in the market are saying nope. Right now, this is looking likely for a reversal. And even then, going into reversal, I haven't sold everything. I haven't actually sold anything. I'm still sat in Bitcoin because I was away for this drop, and I looked at it and I thought, yeah, okay, so what? Because right now I'm comfortable with holding money in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I did actually. I have made one trade actually, which was I swapped a chunk of Bitcoin into ETH because as we hit that zone, I thought, yeah, okay, ETH is looking a bit more primed to head upwards. I'm still holding on to that ETH, and it's actually pulled back. I'm still in a few percent profit, but yeah, it's not really. But it's still. I think the trade is valid.
It's so short term right now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of market that we're in. We're in a market where traders can sit and play in these low volume environments where there's not a lot of real fundamental interest or growth or news or anything. There's nothing going on now that says things have to crash. We've had
the hype is gone.
We had the Silvergate and the Silicon Valley Bank crash. That obviously led to a short-term amount of fear, which then resulted in obviously there's that $200 billion bailout, which immediately sparks cries of everybody QE's back, this is it. And well, hang on, no, they just made this one deposit. So far there's not been any bank news now for a while. Have the problems still gone away? Absolutely not. We've discussed fairly at length in previous videos of what the fundamental problem is with the system and how at some point there's going to be a reckoning, but the reckoning doesn't have to the reckoning doesn't have to happen today or tomorrow or next month. They can kick the can down the road for much longer than we can expect. Conversely, they could decide to let it all fall down, and we've got no control over that either way. And to pretend that we do and that the market is going to for some reason move according to our will is a bit stupid.
Yeah. So yes. So what I wanted to get into as well here was the RSI. The RSI is now kind of correcting back down, and I wanted to show that by making a few just lines here. So every time we've been working on this, eventually the RSI cracks down, and then we have this fall back down to that. That's basically the whole point of the RSI, is to give you the relative strength, right? So every time it cracks, and then it goes. And every time it's done that, we've had the same behavior happening. I think you can even pull this one all the way out here, like that almost. So you go through, you get your pumps, and then you get your corrections, and now it's doing it again. And with this, my personal expectation here is, okay, when it cracks through, it cracks all the way to the bottom every time, right? So here I'm just waiting for this to correct down, and we've been saying for I don't even know how long now. I think since we cracked through here, since we finally cracked through this fib level here, we've been saying that if it corrects in the coming months or weeks, we're gonna see it come back down to this as like a primary spot. We're not saying it's going to go there, but it looks like it wants to, with the RSI being this low and it's still on its way down. And the only support we really have here is this trend line. I don't really know what that would hold. We do have another one too, a horizontal one, which is basically just this price level right here, which is pretty significant actually when you look at it. But it would have to do this type of move for a long time to get the RSI to come all the way down. So, for me, I would be more than happy to see even, I bought some here, and that's fine. And I didn't sell it up here, but I did buy some more stuff in here. And seeing it come down to here, it's not going to make me nervous or anything. So seeing that happening is something that I'm expecting to happen. And I'm noticing that Flippy is spamming us right now.
He's absolutely spamming us. I'm just...
Let's talk after the show, please. Please.
I'll be offline. Good, go now.
Yeah, go.
This is him just chatting to us on Discord, by the way, not in the comment section where we, after he's... Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so there are a lot of things kind of telling us that we want to correct down here, and I wouldn't be surprised if the market wants to kind of let it come down and sink down into this and kind of hit the support and wait for May the 3rd, because on May 3rd we will know if it's going to be a pause with rate hikes or if it's going to be another bump up for 25 basis points for interest rates. So I'm kind of just assuming we have to wait for that, because right now with such little volume, most people that are still in the markets are people that kind of are looking at the whole macro perspective and kind of waiting for things to happen to give them longer term signals to be in or out of something. So that's what I'm thinking. I think the TA side here is not as important as the macro side.
Yeah, that's always that's kind of always the way.
Well, it's always the way, but specifically now it's very it's much more overhanging than it would be like during an exponential move up or something. At that point, people don't give a crap about the macro perspective, really. It's just like, need more, buy, basically.
Yeah.
So sorry, I had to drink something. My throat is still kind of weird. I don't know, Rob. Do you have any charts that you want to go over, by the way? Because I feel like all we needed here is this, really, for Bitcoin. I do want to show the strategy too, though. But
yeah, ultimately, I'll just stick on my screen then and pop it over. So let's see what am I looking at. So right now, so I just had the Bitcoin chart up alongside you. So yeah, the only thing I guess I could show, as I mentioned, I did put in some of my Bitcoin into ETH, and the reason being, as we have mentioned a fair amount of time, the chart of Bitcoin to Ethereum, Ethereum to Bitcoin is very, very long-term consolidating. We've been up in this range above sort of 0.05 BTC for 2 years now, and it's holding very sideways. And so the reason I took this trade and swapped some of my Bitcoin into ETH was basically just because we come down to sort of this level. It was, it had been used as support here, so we set this kind of descending wedge in motion, and then when we got this retest down at the bottom, it was I'll jump in. So I jumped in maybe a little bit higher, I think probably around 0.064. Yeah, it wasn't sort of, was a bit AFK around the top, and did sort of think, let's hold up and wait to see if it'll crack it. Hindsight, I should have snipped a bit of profit off as it sort of got up to this upper line, but I'm still holding it. It's still in profit, so I bought it down there, and now is kind of I'm deciding whether or not to cut my losses, because from zooming in, I say cut my losses, whether or not to take some profit, because we are now in a, this is sort of trending down, not massively, and so for a simple trade setup would be whether or not it break that. I'd say something more like this is I'm looking to see it break up, and if it starts to break below here, then considering my entry is probably about around here somewhere, then get the fuck out. Take take
the profits and just go.
Take what's probably only going to be 4%. Even at the peak, it would have been 10%. Yeah, okay, cool.
4% is better than 0, right?
Yeah, but similarly, it's not necessarily unlikely if it. I don't want to do that. Just get rid of some of the. It's not unlikely that it does sort of continue to flag out, and then it could break up. And that's to me that's not something I'm really. I think that's something that's quite likely at the moment. No, I'm not talking about a huge rally up to all-time highs, but by all means, a move up to sort of these higher levels, up here. Yeah, that's very valid.
Just looking at this longer term, it's essentially sitting on a higher low right now. When you're looking back, and seeing that in the more long term stuff, it's sure. I'm sure it can go.
And And so so then there's a couple of, and they said this is me. I thought I'd just talk through sort of my process for this particular trade as I'm looking at it. So so that's the ETH BTC chart which I'm trading. Oh, I'm not trading the USDT charts. Like that's for this, like Ethereum is this Ethereum is going back into Bitcoin. It's not going back into dollars unless there was a clear, okay, Bitcoin's going down and I may as well go back into dollars and pick it back up at 25k.
Yeah.
Or pick up some ETH at 1700 or 1600, something like that.
Yep.
So in the meantime, though, so one invalidation obviously is the ETH BTC chart, and then the other is that the Bitcoin dominance chart is still very much underneath this say this resistance line. And if
clearly.
very clearly. And so this now is the case. What I'm waiting for is a break upwards, which would be put my ETH back into Bitcoin, or what I'm hoping for is a break downwards, which would be likely a breakout in ETH. Because
probably
this chart very much does. This chart does look very much like the ETH BTC chart inverted.
Oh yeah.
Even to the point, May 2021, and you've been consolidating ever since. If you flip it upside down, it looks very similar to the last one.
It's basically ETH BTC.
Basically,
you're right.
It's but obviously it also includes the stable coins and the larger cap altcoins. Stuff like BNB, Solana, Cardano that do have some sway in the market. But then also the Ethereum dominance chart, which is of course its own thing in that this is consolidating in itself, and this is this flag goes back to January 2020. 3.5 years of and it could very well break down. That's that's not unlikely. And if we saw a complete and total wash, and I would say that in the event of a say there's a bank run and it comes out that Citibank are going to fail, or Credit Suisse, they're gone. $1 trillion bailout. Oh shit, Goldman Sachs is going. Oh shit, JP Morgan, and it becomes an absolute runaway. I don't think that's likely, but in that event, we're seeing Ethereum back below $1,000. We're seeing 60% drops in 2-3 days. We're seeing complete and total rout, and in that sense, for starters,
we're seeing Bitcoin dominance, going up.
You see, but also you wouldn't want to be in Bitcoin then either. So on that sense, it's like well, if to me the only real way is of ETH going down back to sort of 15% is a massive breakout in Bitcoin. That's that's what I would see as to be likely, because even if it was a breakdown of the whole crypto market, I don't know if ETH would drop that much market share. But what is looking sort of very likely and continually fighting is a break upwards, and to me that would be sort of the natural rotation of the market, where we've seen Bitcoin have this rally and consolidate a lot of market share. Meanwhile, Ethereum hasn't lost market share. So that means basically there is also consolidation going in from the altcoins into ETH. And all it takes is a little bit of speculation, just a smidge of people doing the same thing as I am, looking at the market and saying, I'm going to have a little bet on ETH right now. And if it breaks out, and it breaks out in this sort of dominance pattern, and it breaks out versus Bitcoin, it will start to really suck that dominance from altcoins. And this is that rotation to talk about, that the cycle is always the same. Bitcoin moves first, then Ethereum moves first, then the large caps, then the medium caps, then the dog shit, and then the whole thing falls back down because everybody's got silly. And it's and there are large scale moves. These markets move over 4 years, they move over 1 year, they move over 3 months. You've got mini cycles within these cycles over different time periods. And if you can timing these, the thing with investing in altcoins is that timing is everything. And we as we've been saying very, very clearly, this is not the time for rampant speculation of alts. It's just not. There will be coins that move, and I'm not even saying that don't have a dabble, because put 10% in, but treat it as a gamble that it is, because this isn't a growth period in price action for altcoins. It's very much a growth period in terms of development, and the actual fundamental value of stuff will be increasing right now as things develop. But it takes a long time for those fundamentals to be represented in the charts, and the charts right now for alts don't look great. I mean, I can bring.
I mean, not even like some of the large caps ones, like Solana or whatever. They still look very weak against Bitcoin. Everything is weak against Bitcoin at this point.
I've got 40. So I've got 40 coins here versus Bitcoin in my chart. So you can just look straight away. So Aave, descending triangle, probably going to break down. Cardano, dog shit. Algorand, all broken down to all-time low. Atom, we do like Atom, but
Atom is a very good trade against Bitcoin and ETH. Actually,
but it's got a fair way to drop. It's got what 40% or so. Let's see,
it's still holding that range that you still have there.
So
it's in the middle of its range, so it's very like it can go either way on Atom.
But it absolutely can break that uptrend and come all the way back down to the bottom of that chart. And we should expect that to happen, and I expect that to happen. And when it comes down to so maybe 20,000 sats, I'm interested. I'm not interested right now.
No.
Avalanche on the cusp of some a potentially big drop because there ain't much holding it up below these levels.
No.
I see. Again, I've got them marked. Like, here are the ranges. We've seen how much these coins, and when traders get involved, they follow and they respect ranges. So when we break a big level, the chances are eventually, one way or another, we're coming to the next range bottom. BNB with BNB is actually is starting to come up, but it's that trend line. Okay, that's one that's been pissed around with a few times. I don't know how valid it would be, but
and this is the daily for you, right? You're looking at the daily right now.
This is years. This is going back to 2017.
Yeah, exactly. That's why this is when we say we zoom out, guys.
Yeah, I mean, and say even moves like this, we've seen that's a 67% drop versus Bitcoin. This was a 45% drop. And this is, BNB held in pretty well. BNB put in its all-time high at the market bottom. I wonder if that's a coincidence. That's very much got to be CZ maximizing his impact on the market. If he's, I don't believe that that's an accident, but it's dropped 45% from there. Crypto.com coin trashed. Me and you both hold that as for our card.
Yeah, but we don't invest in it. Like, we use the card and we get.
So I bought this
back.
I bought this basically literally at the start of this chart. Before this chart, actually, I bought it about here. So
and I bought the middle there of the charts. It's funny because we bought it at the same price, but I was way later than you.
But versus Bitcoin, I paid $300 for coin that it cost 3,000 to get the same benefit now. So yes, this is the benefit of taking. That to me was it's $300. Go on then, and
I did the same.
That was, and okay, that's quite a lot of money to some people, but bearing in mind, like, I for example, I travel with work. It's quite regular that I can make, spend $1,000 or £1,500 on a trip in a week, just for work, and I was getting 3% cash back for that. Yeah. So
I mean, to put it simply, Rob,
added up.
Yeah, to put it simply, like, I think both me and you, we got the Crypto.com card because of the benefits it provided, not because we wanted to invest in the Chronos token. And that's why the token is still alive and doing, like, it's people are still using the cards, they're still using the platforms, and it's because it's a good platform, not because they want to make money on it. It's actually something with a use case.
Yes, but absolutely. If you look at the price action now, it's broken down into this range. It's probably going to come to the bottom. I'm convinced. And if you are somebody who has used Crypto.com, I know there are quite a lot of people that have thought, should I get the token or should I not? Well, when's a good time to maybe decide to put in a few hundred to get, say, the what I
To get the
think
card.
it's 1% cash back or something now for
The,
300.
the red card, I think, is $350. No,
Yeah,
$400 to get the
$400.
first
Yeah,
card. Yeah.
£300. So maybe when it comes down here, you look at it and go, well, now it's a worthwhile investment, and actually it's worth maybe spending some of my Bitcoin on getting that card, and then
Yeah.
you get the cash back. You get the cash back in Crow. What do you do with the Crow? Sell it into Bitcoin forever.
Yeah. Or
And
what I did my first round, if you look at the chart, like in the middle of the chart here where it's kind of sideways moving,
Yeah,
right there, I think that's around where I got my card. And then a couple of weeks after, it just exploded up, and my $400 investment became $13,000. And I was
but
like,
it was
oh,
locked
okay.
away.
No, it wasn't.
Is it?
I unlocked it, but I made a stupid decision, and I decided to hold on to it for a while, but then I sold it later on. So I still made a huge profit on it, putting in 400, getting basically 8K at the end of it.
Nice.
Not bad. And an upgraded card, right? So, but yeah, I do want to touch on something before we finish this off, though, that I wanted to show on the Bitcoin charts. But you finish your thing here.
Well, no, it's I won't go through all of them, but I know
No,
one
please
that
don't.
one that Flippy will absolutely love is Flow. So I not gonna lie, shilled it to him a little bit.
Well, I know that he asked you for something specific, and you gave him something that was up to the specifications that he was asking for, and then he bought into it.
And then it turned out it was dog shit. No, actually, the Flow is not.
Yeah.
Flow is actually a very good platform. However, the chart is horrendous, and it is just so just for a bit of clarification, and this is maybe a quick go into fundamentals of altcoins, because I got into the ICO for this token, and so I did very well. This is literally my best investment ever, and it's kind of sad.
The shittiest chart ever right now.
Absolutely shitty. So I got into this coin at 10 cents per token, and at the peak in dollars it was around $40. Now I couldn't that was locked away, so I didn't have access to sell that.
It was ICO vesting schedules and all that.
But I put $1,000 into it, and at the peak I was receiving $500 a week in interest. And
that's not bad.
So it very, very quickly paid for itself. And then it was after a year or so, I think it was October. Basically it started unlocking. Well, you can tell where it started unlocking, around here. And there you go, October. And it released until here in a yearly release.
Yeah.
So I was selling interest up here, and then here I was basically selling every month. I know I was say straight up, I was dumping onto whoever wanted to buy. And this is what happens when the market turns. I got into something incredibly cheap through luck. I applied for it, but I could have very easily not got into it. And I'm looking at the price, and I'm going, right now I don't want to be in this thing. So I dropped it, and I dropped it onto anybody who wanted to buy, and there will have been people who were going, "Oh, buy it now, buy it now, buy it now," and this is going to be amazing.
This is a great lesson for everybody. I mean, I don't know how many times we've talked about really researching the fundamentals and the tokenomics and everything on everything that you get into. I mean, if you find an ICO with something you really like, then this thing can happen. But
this is the thing is, say for me, when I said it to Flippy, shilled and sold it to you. No, yes, but what I did make very clear when we were talking about it was we didn't know at the time we didn't know a bear market was coming, and I was always absolutely adamantly clear, the same as I always have been, in a bear market you don't want to be in alts, and that goes for all alts, any alts. Literally name an alt that you should have been in throughout this last year.
Pepe.
JK. But say there are very, very few that have outperformed Bitcoin or even outperformed dollars. So this went pretty much exactly as I expected for a for what we've ended up with is a bear market, because it pumped ridiculously high at the start. I was selling my interest every week, and that was the circulating supply at the time was 3% back here. So 97% locked up. We had, as the early investors, had a decent chunk, and we were getting our interest. So we were massively inflating the supply, but the supply was so small, there were people hoovering it up, and it pumped the price up really, really high. And then once the releases started to happen, then the essentially that sell pressure started to really hit the market, and as we're hitting it, we were well into a bear market at that point. There was just no buyers to absorb all of that liquidity, and so the price continues to bleed, and it will continue to bleed until the market turns around. And so flow is not a, I would put into the mid cap coins that we may be 3 or 4 months of Ethereum outperforming, and then 3 or 4 months of large caps outperforming. You might be talking 8 to 12 months before flow really starts to move properly. It might put in a bottom versus Bitcoin, but you've then got an accumulation period, and you've seen we do get these accumulation periods. So buying, but using something like, I will actually, if we want to go for something to shill, let's go right.
We don't shill stuff. Oh, actually, we do shill some stuff, but it's our stuff.
Our stuff. Okay, that's.
I'll allow you to do this, but then we need to finish off with the thing that I wanted to go over in Bitcoin before I was done, but I forgot.
But well, I think this should work. So this is what when we're kind of looking to use this, is to use it as a average in, average out kind of thing. Now, obviously, this is giving a lot of buys, and you would be in a horrific loss if you were buying this because of how far it's gone down. But even so, if this is something that, if it's a coin that you believed in long term, yes, obviously look at the fundamentals and go, now is not the time to be investing in altcoins. But if you have something that is a strategy that can reliably pick sort of cheap periods, then when you do get to the point where you have these big pumps, you can very, very quickly average down your price and end up selling at a profit, or at the very least break even. And so that's
and during a bear market, that's very good, because that means that if it keeps on dumping, you'll buy back more with more money, because you made some profits on the way down rather than just losing everything.
It frees up capital. It frees up capital during a period where the price is not really behaving in a way that you want it to behave. And that is, being able to either cut your losses on something which is presently overvalued and performing shit, or being able to say, no, I'm in a profit in bear market territory, I'm going to take some off the table, I'm going to de-risk, and I'm not going to hold, because there is an increased likelihood that this thing just rolls over and collapses. And being able to have that discipline and foresight is a very valuable tool, and it doesn't really come from charts. It comes from a combination of practice and balls, and having a strategy. Whether or not whatever that strategy is, just have a strategy that, and then also have the balls to follow through on that strategy. Because if it's back tested and reliable and it works, then chances are it's better than you.
Yeah, I'll say this too. I think we back tested this is the Crypto Talk strategy number 1, by the way, for those who didn't catch on to that. But I think we back tested this, and we compared, buying and not doing these small sell-offs on the way.
We're still this is very much still in development, isn't it? But we're tweaking
things.
And what we are happy about is that it can quite reliably pick out bottoms and pick out tops. So
it's zooming out. I think I put it on the weekly. I tried it on the weekly on basically anything I could think of, everything from Tesla to Microsoft to Google stock to ETH, everything.
And it was 100 BTC.
Yeah, and it was 100% profitable. 100%. Every single trade was profitable. 100% profitable trades. And So it's working. We have tweaked it though to kind of skip
earlier trades.
the selling of too early selling too early in exponential moves. Sorry. Yes. And we've managed to mitigate that. I think Plippy just sent us the update. Yes, apparently.
Yep.
So he's helped us code the last piece of it. So that might actually be done now. We'll have to test that for next week. But
Yeah.
so what I wanted to go through before we kind of end this thing, and I wanted to do this before I finished my part before, but I forgot. So I'm zoomed out to the weekly here on Bitcoin, and essentially what we're looking at is, a correction down. That's what we were talking about earlier, and coming down to this fib level in the next 2 weeks or something would mean that we would probably get the Bollinger Band as well to come back up to close to that, which would be a perfect bounce, just like it did here, right? And then the RSI might even come down and hit the like 50, 55, something like that, and bounce again. So that would you would have a couple of big weeks up, then you would have sideways, and then a big dump, and then it would go up again. So waiting to see what happens there, I think that's also an argument for like a fairly significant correction. So I don't think it's time to panic yet. That's what I'm trying to say. However, if we do get that bounce happening, from this area right here, and we get like a move up towards 36, let's say, which is where the fib level is, where we kind of talked about where it probably is topping out, and then it collapses, that's more expected, right? But we might also see it break down already here and then come back into the range that we've been in for I don't even know how long, for ages, and that wouldn't surprise me either. And please take this line that I made with a really large grain of salt. But it's just
illustrative. It's not a prediction.
Yeah,
but yeah, no,
it's not
the behaviors. But then this is the kind of, why should we not expect that behavior if things do go badly? That's not, we don't know if they're gonna go badly, but it just it doesn't. The whole we've spoken about at length. So the macros bullshit. It looks absolutely horrific on a 12 to 24 month timeline, and that it could go at any time, but it could wait a lot longer than people expect for things to go. I mean, I can maybe just throw one very quick thing in.
I have one very quick thing too, Rob. Give me a second here. So remember, everybody, we were talking about this being an anomaly, where the range would actually be within these two fib levels where it's been. If we were to do a pattern here and pull it to where it is now, and just skip over that just again, at this point, then we would have bounced on the 36K level, which I just found to be kind of funny, that it's actually what it's done, if we skipped on this dump here, on the FTX dump. But obviously that's just a fun notation. It's not really TA that you would be able to give an excuse for. However, before you take the reins again, I'm gonna just turn on the, unless you have already turned on the strategy here.
No. Go on, I'll let you.
Okay, I'll do it. There we go. Let's close this one. So we did get, I mentioned this yesterday too, we did get the buy and then the sell and then the sell up here, and now we're coming back into the Gaussian channel here, which would suggest that we want to go back in under it, because usually when it goes in, it wants to come out the other side.
Unless
no promises.
It can hold as support.
It can also hold as support on top. But showing this with the strategy is showing that we're selling again, in the start of a consolidation period. So it's like just sideways, and then it pumps again, it sells a little bit more, and then it goes sideways, and now it's dumped. So essentially, if you sold here and here and you bought here, and this corrects down to where we think it might go, then you've obviously made a good profit here, and you're going to be able to buy back more than you sold for less money, which is nice. So go strategies, right?
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I know we would not be trying to. Well, I would say we're not going to obviously push it too hard, but we will be looking to make this available. But for sure, it will not be made available until we are using it ourselves. Like that
Yeah.
is, for sure. Like we will be using this as an investment tool for ourselves, because I
want it.
yeah, I spent
So-
I spent the majority of the last year and a half. The majority of my portfolio was running on my own strategy, and it was very successful in terms of what it was supposed to do. I still incurred losses, but my strategy, that I say that, not this strategy, but my own personal one,
Another
which would
one.
also another one which will be made available as well, was highly successful at what it's supposed to do, which is to cut losses, get out of bad trades, and buy back lower. And when you have a strategy that you do believe in long term, and you apply it in a consistent and intelligent way, then you can make a hell of a lot more than doing it yourself, and more importantly with less stress. And that's what I'm very much about: stress minimization. I've been in this market for getting close to 6 years now. I'm done with it. I've aged so much. I looked so young in 2017. Like, you wouldn't believe. So just not
strats are nice.
not necessarily our strategy, but have a strategy, guys. Really,
there's plenty of good strategies out there.
Oh, yeah,
it's just
and
most of the time strategies are not available as an indicator. It's just people telling you, oh, think about this, think about that, the way that we do, but we put it into a strat for you.
You know what? So, I was just about to big up Mr. Goose, but he's very successful and dropping he's dropping Lafayette.
We'll give him some limelight later, don't worry.
Yeah, he can go screw himself.
We do yeah. we do need to end this now, actually. It's 9 p.m. here, and it's getting late, so I gotta get going. But hopefully someone learned something, and obviously we'll be back next Monday, because unless I'm sick again, which I doubt I will be, because I rarely do get sick, but when I do, I get very sick. So with that said, the usual, guys: follow, subscribe, all that stuff. And by the way, I discovered some news. You have to share this channel with everybody, because otherwise Gary Gensler will come to your house and take your stuff.
Yeah,
he's gonna take your candles, your scented candles. He's taking them 100%. So if you want to keep them, you better share this channel. It's the only protection you got. That's scientifically proven. True story, no bullshit. So we'll see you guys on Saturday. We'll do a long form. Maybe we'll find a guest. I don't know if we can, but we'll see. So, all right. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.